Hello, welcome to the Cringe Crew Music Podcast, episode 7. So, this is the third time I'm trying to render this. This is added in while I'm editing here. For whatever reason, the first two times it rendered wrong, so I'm having to add this little intro bit. So, let me see what the albums for the week are, because I forgot, because this was like 3 weeks ago. Okay. Yeah, this is the concept album episode. So, Between the Baron and Me's Parallax 2 Future Sequence, Tortuga's Deities, and Shinedown's Attention, Attention. Those are the albums. On with the episode. Do mine last because I have a lot of information that I need to give you about that one, and it might take a while, so we'll do it last. Okay. So, whoever wants to go first, I suppose.
I can start mine because it's the simplest.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as concept albums go, the whole theme with this album is basically one man's descent into madness, and it's not a lyrical album. It tells the story pretty much completely.
Up your bit rate.
Like when you hit that record button, his bit rate just decides to sink.
Yeah, it's just because he decides he wants to record everything.
You were absolutely fine.
Yeah, it's something like that. But basically, it's about like one man's descent into madness after he discovers the Necronomicon. And song you can really start to hear it on is Esoteric Order. I'm pretty sure that's the one where the like vocal backtrack of the girl screaming and gurgling is on. And this album's really unsettling. I like it a lot.
So when I listened to this one, there's just a running theme of shit I've never heard of, but shit that I fucking love. Because the second I got to even before the last track, right before the last track started, I was like, I really, really fucking like this stuff. And
yo, if you want some doom metal, I can link you some shit, but keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Right around, I think it was in the first couple minutes of the last song, I had paused because I wanted to play some COD and listen to this in the background. In the middle of me playing zombies, I hear it start speaking Spanish. And I got really unbelievably confused because my character in the game is Spanish.
Yeah, I noticed that bit too.
What? It sounds identical to him. I was like, why is my character just speaking Spanish? What is going on? Why am I dying? Is something going to happen? What's happening?
You're descending into madness.
I legitimately was just like, I'm going insane for like 2 minutes straight before I looked over and was like, oh, it's just a song. I literally had to pause the game. I was like, I'll finish this album. I'll finish the song first before I go back.
It's really good. I actually heard about this album through my buddy Dallas. He's one of my chef's buddies. He's an executive chef over at the Beau Rivage. And he has prime music taste.
Yeah, I mean, it's whenever I try to describe like a music taste or like my music taste to anyone, my first words are usually like, if it's derivative of rock and roll in any fucking shape or form, I'll probably like it. Like if it has any concept of rock or metal, I will probably like it to some degree.
Yeah,
and
I can vibe with that.
I just there was something about that like Lovecraftian kind of feel. I really like this album a lot.
Yeah. So my only real exposure to doom metal has been through the band Electric Wizard, which gets their name from 2 different Black Sabbath tracks off of their first album. And I like Electric Wizard a lot. There's a lot of like kind of, I guess, 70s, 60s satanic panic themes in their songs. So having doom metal be about eldritch beings is just a really cool concept to me.
Yeah.
And I liked this. I liked parts of this album. I think my favorite track was for Elizard, which was basically the entire song was just "fuck you, Godzilla."
I remember that coming on, and I got so confused again because I was like, "Am I still listening to an album, or did this just go off to some random up next thing? What the fuck is going on?"
Um, but yeah, that was my favorite song on the whole thing. And then the last track, I guess, kind of solidified the whole descent into madness thing because I didn't listen to the whole track, but I got through most of it, and it seemed to just be like this really weird instrumental thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it was something. I really like the album art on this. It's really fucking cool. And the band's Polish, so I don't listen to a lot of Polish bands, so that's interesting. But yeah, overall I thought it was cool.
They're really unique. Like I haven't found another band like these guys, and I've looked, I've dug. So it's hard to find Lovecraftian themed music.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I guess we'll do Shinedown next. I guess Conley, you can start off.
Yeah. So, I I started listening to Shinedown a lot heavier a couple years ago when I saw them in concert. Um, at one of those like the bigger rock festivals where they have like one person on for like 20 minutes or something. Um, and I don't remember what position they were, but I remember seeing them, and like from that exact day, I was like, I have to listen to every single fucking thing they've ever written, or else I can't live. I fucking have loved just about everything they've put out.
Me with Skillet.
If you would have asked like 10-year-old me about Skillet, he'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
Looks at the Rise flag I have on my wall. You got some shit to say, Mike?
It's just some vaguely edgy, like Christian rock music. That's literally all it is.
But I like it.
All right, edgy boy.
I never disagreed with you. I'm just saying
true.
I like it.
That's fair. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh, it's edgy as hell. I know that. I like it. So, wiggly air music makes me happy.
Fair, fucking fair. But when I saw that they were getting ready to release this album, I got just so unbelievably fucking hyped. Because I devoured Threat to Survive immediately for fucking years until Attention came out. Just in general, like to be fair though, it also took me a little bit longer than like that I would like to admit to realize what like the actual overall theme was of the album.
It's dark.
It is dark. It has a little bit of that, like, it does have a little bit more of an uplifting message when you get towards the end.
Yeah.
But it is definitely a little bit of a darker album. But that being said, regardless of how dark it was, there wasn't like a track on here that I don't like, or even that I think that I could even come up with, say like I don't like this one, or like some of my favorite ones were I love Brilliant and probably Pyro and Devil.
Yeah, I get that. I like a lot of shit off of this album, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint like my favorites.
Yeah.
But one of the songs I relate to the hardest is Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
As basic as that is to say. I did not have a great life through high school to early college. So it took me a while to get out of that funk, but when I did, it I don't know how to word it. My life got way better. So I tend to relate to a lot of Shinedown albums because a lot of the stuff he talks about is his struggle with alcoholism and drug abuse and how he grew out of it to become a better person. And that's kind of the concept that carries over with this album, and it's really good.
It is very good.
Okay. Admittedly, I'm not really too familiar with a lot of Shinedown's music. I've probably heard a lot of their stuff on the radio, like kind of in the mid-early 2000s-ish, but I couldn't name a song for you. This might be controversial, but this album kind of just sounds like it has that sort of generic, like, radio sound, like Imagine Dragons-esque, maybe, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm not harping on it for that. It just kind of sounds like stuff I've heard before.
Yeah.
I didn't hate this. There were a couple tracks where I was just like, all right, yeah, this is all right. I don't know that I'd probably listen to it again, though. I think that the message of the album is good, because just reading off of the Genius page for it here, it's basically a person's progression from being in, like, a really dark, negative space and working through their problems and trying to find positivity, which is a solid message. Like, I can get behind that, but it was all right. Didn't hate it, but I don't think I'd listen to anything like this again.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would say that Shinedown can sometimes, on occasion, have that, like, not necessarily generic, but very a radio rock sound to them. That can come off as maybe not as, I don't know what's the word, like, groundbreaking.
Genuine?
Well, yeah. I think I felt that just general sentiment on, like, some of their earlier stuff, but
Yeah,
I
for
definitely
sure.
understand, because there was a couple songs that now, even though I love them, there's some songs that I'm like, skip that one.
Yeah, like
I'm like,
Diamond Eyes is like that
where
for
I've heard
me.
it about a billion times. I'm like, I like this album, I like this song, but please, for the love of God, change it.
Yeah.
Because
Though,
yeah.
fuck the album that Long Black Cadillac is off of. I can't remember the
What
name
is
of
that?
it.
That's
State of Mind or State
I
of My Head.
think so.
That
Uh,
that
uh,
album's a lot like that generic radio rock type
yeah.
stuff. But it's still good. It's just nothing fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, Black Cadillac's off of Threat to Survival.
Threat to
Which was
Survival. That was
not
the
this
name
most,
of it.
not Attention, the one right before it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, the thing was Threat to Survival for me had like the beginning ones I really liked, like Asking for It and Cut the Cord and State of My Head, and then the other ones did feel a little bit. I still liked them. They felt a little too radio to me, but
Yeah, I get
understand
that.
the sentiment.
Yeah. Still good, just
Yeah.
generic.
Yeah. Well then, that leaves mine. So the story behind my album actually spans an EP, this album, and arguably a couple of loose tracks off of previous albums. So my album pick is Between the Buried and Me's Parallax 2 Future Sequence. The story on this one starts on the final track of their album, The Great Misdirect, the song Swim to the Moon. Song's about 20 minutes long or so, and it's I'm reading off of the Genius page because there's a lot of stuff here. It's basically about a businessman who needs something new in his life, so he goes out to sea and just kind of floats to see where it takes him. And so, if you want to go in canonical order of the story here, you go this song, and then Bloom off of Parallax 2, and then to Parallax 1. So, I actually listened to all of this stuff for the podcast. So, after Swim to the Moon off of Great Misdirect, we go to Parallax 1 Hypersleep Dialogues, which is the 3-track EP that comes before Parallax 2, and it's basically about two human beings living on different planes of existence who become aware of each other through their dreams. And they eventually come to be known as the main characters, Prospect 1 and 2. So then going to the actual album for this week, Parallax 2. I'll kind of discuss the entire story afterwards, but I'll just kind of tell you what I think of the album as a whole. I think there's a lot of like really crazy and just like nutty stuff on this album. Like it's very technical. There's a whole lot of shit going on this, and I love it for that. Like it's almost chaotic at times. Like there's a lot of like really heavy stuff, a lot of really technical guitar playing, like just really off the wall samples on this. The frontman for the band, Tommy Rogers, his son, who was like a baby at the time, he sampled his voice and then edited it to be like the voice of like an alien. So if you hear like any gurgling in the background, like weird gurgles, that's what that is.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay, I was just making sure before.
But just kind of some highlights off of this. Extremophile Elite, definitely. Silent Flight Parliament. What's the one near the beginning? Lay Your Ghost to Rest. Like, those songs, there are so many, like, beat changes, and just the song just kind of morphs and evolves over the course of the whole thing, and it's nuts. There's one particular bass line on Lay Your Ghost to Rest that sounds like just a Cynic bass line. Like, any given Cynic song, it's that bass line, and it's good. Another good moment that I like off of this is kind of the transition from the songs Parallax into Black Box and then into the song Telos. Like, just something about the transition between those three songs that I like a lot. And then, and then
I definitely agree with you.
And then just the song Bloom it's fucking nuts. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But overall, I fucking love this thing. Like I said, really technical, a lot of really crazy stuff going on. It's really good.
Yeah, I had heard about Between the Buried and Me a couple years ago, but I hadn't really I hadn't heard anything that or at least in my head, I didn't think of or could think of anything that I had rememberably heard. But now sitting here listening to it, I was like, I'm going to have to listen to this album more than one time all the way through, just so I can try and catch everything.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Between the Buried and Me is one of Mike's favorite bands. They're really good.
The second this, even the very beginning of Astral Body, I was like I had an idea where this was going. I hadn't gotten a chance to read the storyline up until I got, I think, a couple tracks in, which then made me restart. Because fuck, now I have to try and see if I can hear it. But it was right when it started where I was like, oh, this is something that I'm gonna fucking like. It's always in the first two songs where I'm like, I'm gonna like this album or I'm gonna like this band or something. And I'm definitely gonna have to come back and try to listen to way more of them and just try and devour it. Just try and get to it, within a decent amount of time. I really love this band.
Yeah. Just some notes here. I've actually seen them live once, and it was a couple years back where they were playing their album Coma Ecliptic in its entirety, and that show was incredible. But yeah, a lot of their albums tend to be concept albums about just really I don't even remember what Coma Ecliptic about. It's some guy just having dreams inside of dreams or something. I don't even fucking know. But a lot of their stuff is really cool. It's kind of I guess if you could describe the genre, it's sort of progressive metalcore mixed with tech death. But I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to listen to more of their albums.
And just a side thing, their frontman Tommy Rogers has a side project, solo project where he releases I don't even know how to describe the stuff that he puts out. It's mixes of electronic stuff with some of the stuff that Between the Buried and Me does. His last album features, I think, the vocalist from Ulver, and they have a song on there that's wouldn't be out of place on Ulver's Assassination of Julius Caesar. It sounds exactly like that. And it's got the guy from the band, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then their bassist has a jazz fusion side project that's really nuts. But I'll let Steven give his thoughts, and then I'll kind of deep dive into the storyline. Just kind of want to hear what you guys thought of it before I read a Wikipedia page for 15 minutes.
This was interesting. I posted a little bit about it in chat, but it was hard for me to follow the full story listening because I typically listen to these things while I'm playing a match of Halo or something.
Yeah.
But it is good. Music wise, the chord progression's really good. I dig the wild fucking guitar on some of these tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Astral Body, like Conley was talking about, is fucking great.
Mhm.
And then fuck, hold on. I gotta pull up my notes again. Damn it. Um, it was way more aggressive than I was anticipating because I've listened to some of Between the Buried and Me in the car with you, Mike, and
Yeah,
like hanging
their
out.
earlier stuff is a bit more aggressive than their newer stuff,
Yeah, like
for
this
sure.
was way heavier than I was expecting. I dig it though. Like I'm not janking on it for that. It's really good. It was just heavier than I was expecting. And the story is like stupid dark. I'll let you explain that when you get to it, but I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting that either.
Yeah, I was
It
not expecting that. Yeah.
it's kind of terrifying, but that's all I really have to say about it. It's a good album.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll finally get around to explaining the story, and I'm just going to read verbatim off the Wikipedia page because that seems to be the easiest.
Fair.
So, this album, Parallax 2, starts at the very end, where the two prospects are basically waiting for their planet to fly into the sun. Um, so, following the opening song, the album picks up right where Parallax 1 Hypersleep Dialogues ends, and Prospect 2, who is in the middle of space on a ship, finds that his old planet, his home on his old planet, has disappeared. So he thinks about who he is in a dream and finds that he does not understand his purpose. So this is the song Astral Body. Prospect 2 then decides to either end his own life on the ship or go back to a new planet where he has planted human souls for the government. He decides to go back to the new planet, and on the way there, he feels remorse as he wishes he could have gone back and told his wife that he was leaving to go to this new planet, which is the track Later Goes to Rest. The next song, Autumn, is basically just a way to set up atmosphere. Prospect 1 returns home from being adrift to sea, which is the track Swim to the Moon off of Great Misdirect, and finds that everything's gone and it's not what he remembers. He begins to have these dreams that show him meeting someone with identical looks but a different agenda, and he wakes from these dreams one day. He finds that a city is being built around him. He buries his head in the dirt because of how loud the construction is. Then someone pulls his head from the dirt. This person happens to be the same person he dreamed about. Himself. Wait, hold on. He dreamed about. Yeah, same person he dreamed about, or it's Prospect 2. So this is Extremophile Elite. There's a flashback in the second half of Extremophile Elite that details Prospect 2's landing on the new planet. And once he gets there, he kind of stumbles around to what seems like machines building the city in the distance, and that's when he finds Prospect 1's head in the ground. But he thought it was just a dead man, so he pulls his head out and finds a note that he left for his wife under his skull. But finding the note turned out to be a dream. Now that the prospects have met each other, they recollect over their losses and pains and know that they must decide what to do with the new planet, which is the track Parallax. The story then cuts to the beginning of time and introduces the Night Owls, who are the creator of all, which is the track Black Box. Prospect 2 becomes determined to destroy the Earth, so he tries to persuade Prospect 1 to join him, and he agrees only because of his fear of Prospect 2. However, Prospect 1 internally decides to start a new life and live with his new love interest, who is never introduced in the album. Another flashback takes place, and Prospect 2's wife talks about how he has hurt her and left no note as to where he is, and she ends her own life by burning down their house, which is the track Telos.
So dark.
Then the album kind of flip flops between Great Misdirect and the first album, so I guess there's just some connect there. Prospect 1 drowns. He sinks to the bottom of the ocean and is revived by a village of sea creatures. So if I remember right, that's the track Bloom. Basically, a species of octopus people kidnap him and experiment on him, and then they realize what his purpose in life is, and they let him go and apologize. Sort of. Um, let's see, where am I at? Yeah. He's sent back to the surface, and then that's where hypersleep dialogues begin. So, I know it's confusing, but like I said, the canon is it starts with Swim to the Moon off of Great Misdirect, and then Bloom, and then Parallax 1, and then onward. I
I
don't.
just want to meet these guys and ask how high they were when they wrote this story.
That's something I was gonna say was that I feel like now I have to smoke and listen to this.
Yeah.
Like I've been
Same.
like I feel like now I genuinely am gonna have to try and listen to this whole storyline, like just blaze out of my mind.
Yeah.
That seems like a bad idea, but go off, sis.
So basically, TLDR, some two guys from different dimensions dream about each other. They meet in real life, and somehow their planet ends up flying into the sun.
TLDR, don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do
Mike,
drugs, kids.
are you sure this isn't like the plot to an anime? Because this definitely sounds like this is a plot to an anime.
All right, let me
You
tweet
say
at
run, just
let me
starts
tweet
playing
at
in the
Tommy
background.
Rogers right now and be like, hey, make Parallax 2 into an anime, please.
He
Oh no, you cut out.
Oh, whip.
I said he would probably be down to do it too.
Fucking bet. The entire time I was just like, you explaining, I was like, this sounds like an anime.
Off topic, you said you like doom metal. I know which album I'm listening next week. I don't listen to a lot of doom metal, but the doom metal I do is really good. So
The one thing that I like literally right before, and I don't know if it's considered doom metal. I didn't see right before I started being on the podcast, I was trying to get into sleep.
Oh yeah.
I was like listening to the fuck is that album?
When it comes to sleep, I've generally
Science.
heard that Dope Smoker is like a good album to start with.
I tried to listen. I did. I listened to the Sciences.
Oh yeah, the Science is the new one. That one's good.
And I was very blazed when I listened to it. Very fucking good. Fucking amazing.
So fuck doing it for a surprise. I'm gonna go on and post next week's album because now I'm thinking about it and I really want to listen to it.
Yeah, while I was literally this past week, like the day after we had talked about, or like Monday, I had listened to Everywhere at the End of Time, almost up till I think like C2 or C3, like super blazed, and I was like, this was either a great idea or a bad idea, and we'll find out later.
I actually started listening to a little bit of that, and I posted about it in the Discord. So that first album reminds me very heavily. If you've ever been to Disney World and you've ever rode the Tower of Terror and you're standing in line, it sounds exactly like something that you would hear while waiting in line for Tower of Terror. Exactly.
Which album are we talking about?
The 7.5 hour.
Oh yeah,
and
the Dementia.
I love just like really creepy, kind of slowed down, eerie ballroom music. As it turns out, because I fucking love that. And I watched a video essay on the entire album, and the
one
guy
you posted is what I watched.
Yeah. And the guy was basically like, yeah, the first 4 albums are just like glitched ballroom music, and then it gets fucked up.
I think it's fucked.
So I'm gonna warn y'all. The songs on this album are kind of long, but there's only 7 of them.
Okay.
Each one is about 10 minutes long.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was waiting for like each song's an hour long.
I'd be like Steven, no.
No, I would Mike.
I think I got into the second or third track of stage 2, and there was a point like at the end of stage 1 going into stage 2 where there was like 2 tracks that were like different. Like the ballroom music was like slightly further away, and it was like it was quiet, and there was much more just static. That fucked with me for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, see, I want to do it, but I know it's probably the single worst idea I've ever had, so I will almost certainly not act on it, but I kind of want to know what it would be like to listen to these albums in full while on a trip.
Maybe would not.
I think stages 1 through 3 would be okay.
Yeah, those might be fine, but everything after that,
stage 4, 5, and 6, I think that would be fucking ridiculous.
Me and Mike sitting there smashing shit.
There's actually another album that I found called the Disintegration Loops. They were by a individual called William Basinski. Apparently, the storyline behind it. Basinski. He originally had some cassette tapes from like the 60s or 80s or something, and like in the early 2000s or very late 90s, early 2000s, he wanted to digitize everything. So he took the tapes and he tried to digitize them. On like the first tape, he set it to go and he left and came back. And he realized that with each loop of the tape, the tape would actually be degrading. So
I have a related thing to tell you about that happened recently, but continue.
Over the course of 4 hours, or excuse me, 5 hours, you just keep hearing like this. It's not the exact same track, but it's like a collection of tracks that are just disintegrating more and more, and it kind of ends up sounding a little bit like it's another like ambient sounding piece. But what's really interesting is that the video that he used to go along with the album was the guy went to the top of his apartment in New York City on the day 9/11 was happening and was recording the like smoke that was coming out of New York City like into the night. And
Jeez.
it's
Oh
fucking
hell no! That's how you get ghosts. I'm good. I'm not playing that track in my fucking house. That's how you summon Satan. Look, I'm white, but I'm not that white. Jesus Christ.
Apparently I am. So
All right.
I'll let you know how this one. I'll let you know how the summoning of Satan goes.
Okay. So, related thing. During the week of the election, the producer for Clipping was doing a live stream on their YouTube channel where he had basically set up a tape player and was playing this one track on this tape on loop for the entire week. And basically, we got to hear how the tape degraded over the course of the week, and we bonded over that tape degrading.
Who bonded over that tape degrading?
The stream chat.
Oh wow, that's actually kind of neat.
And
Yeah.
like occasionally he'd pop in and be like, "Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, the tape's still going. It sounds worse. Like that squeaking it's doing now. Anyway, I'll be back in half an hour."
Like that squeaking it's doing now. Now watch, in about a month, Clipping's gonna release a new album called Terrible Tape Decks or some shit like that, and it's just going to be him sampling the degraded tape.
I think people in chat were like non-ironically hoping he would do that.
Okay, but that is absolutely something he would do too.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's see. No vinyl updates for this week.
Oh yeah.
So
I guess,
unless you guys have something that you want to talk about,
I mean, I guess. Did you guys have an idea of how if you want what we wanted to do for Everywhere at the End of Time? Like, did you want to try and listen to it all before the end of the season, or did you just want to listen to like a stage every like 2 weeks or something?
I tell you what, we can do. I guess we can do however many stages we want each week up until the finale.
Okay.
And then so if you want to listen to like one or two stages each week, whatever you have time for, and then each episode we can be like, hey, here's what stage I got to, here's what I think, and go from there.
Okay.
I would like to request one thing.
Uh-huh.
I've been reading up on this,
Okay.
and I'm very open about my struggles with mental illness. Apparently this is not a good thing to listen to if you struggle from any form of mental illness.
Oh,
So
well.
I may have to tap out in the later stages.
Okay.
I'll have to
So
give.
so if you want to, I would highly recommend watching the video essay I posted about this album.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah, because he kind of does a good job of explaining kind of everything from start to finish.
He does a good job of explaining what it sounds like without necessarily giving away the experience of listening
Yeah,
to it.
he'll probably play like a sample or two from
He'll
each
play, like,
bit, but he's
maybe
not gonna like
5
spoil
minutes.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 5. I think the most he plays is like 2 or 3 seconds from like the later stages. But
Okay,
it
that's
it is 100%. There's multiple warnings where it's like, hey, if your mental state is not the best right now, save this for another time.
like my mental state is good, but due to my autism and the way my manic depression works, I have flare ups randomly that can be triggered by different things.
Yeah,
So,
that's I wouldn't blame you if it's too much, because I expect that, li- like I said, stages 1 through 3 are supposed to be like easygoing, like, hey,
It's
this
just
is
kind of
you
like
do great.
ballroom music, but remixed, kind of.
It's imagine if you're in a ball imagine you're in the building that has a ballroom, but you're like down the hall from the ballroom.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of the first 3 stages sound like.
okay.
It sounds, but it's hard to explain, because there was a couple of tracks on like the end of 1 into 2 where I'm like was like, oh god, this feels weird, because the music started to cut out more. I had gotten used to listening to like at least semi-coherent fucking ballroom music, and then it's like staticky, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Oh, so I will talk about my album pick, and then I've probably got a dip because we're doing my nephew's birthday cake.
Okay.
Okay.
And we can do our album pick real quick for next week, because I
So,
need help deciding.
Yeah, I
uh,
don't have a clue what I want.
so next week, on request of, well, not necessarily a request, but I'm considering it a request of our boy Conley, I will be recommending another Doom album by a band called Earth, called The Bees Made Honey and the Lion's Skull. Is
Oh,
good.
I've heard of Earth. I haven't
I've
heard
heard
anything
of
by
Earth.
them, but I've heard of
Yeah,
them. They're like
I've heard of them.
drone mixed with doom, sort of.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's an interesting album. This is another one I found through my buddy Dallas. I think you'll really like it. So,
Yeah, I'll definitely have to give that one a go.
All right. So,
but
for me next week, I have a few
Mm,
possibilities for you. I
yeah.
have a live album, I have a weird electronic album, and I have a dark electronic album.
You do yours. I'm
I
gonna do
like dark electronic.
Okay.
can you actually I could fuck with some dark electronic.
All right. So, I guess I'll be talking about Lorne's Ask the Dust then.
Ooh, I've not heard of that. Okay. I'm thinking of either a like post-hardcore math rock, or um
I have no idea what math rock is, but that sounds
it,
interesting to me.
Think Dillinger Escape Plan.
yes. Also
Okay.
think of the band I had last week, Animals as Leaders. They kind of are math rock, but a little heavier.
Oh, I'll dig it.
Math rock is like prog metal, but like not as intense.
Okay. Yeah, I like super dug that album. It's actually on my playlist now for work.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. Oh, okay, yeah. That's no. I have 3 albums. Either a fairly recent hip hop album, uh, post hardcore math rock, or this other one. Let me see a good way to fucking
If it's not RTJ, you're copping out.
RTJ.
Run
Oh,
the
right. Oh, no,
jewels.
no. God, no.
Did you just?
I love them. No, not God, no,
Okay.
not God, no. As in,
Oh.
oh God, no. As in, no. I don't. I'm not comfortable. No, I haven't listened to enough of it to be like, here you go. No.
I'll talk about that cat. I'll talk about that cat album someday.
Or a metalcore.
I was actually gonna talk to you one week. I want to do parody albums.
All right, bet.
Ooh, yeah. So yeah.
So like the week after this one, we might do parody albums if you're cool with it, Mike.
All right.
So let's see here. Yeah, it's either metalcore, post hardcore, math rock, or recent hip hop.
I like math rock. Math rock sounds interesting.
Surprise me.
um,
Regardless of what
I
you
don't
picked,
like
it would
how
have probably been a
aggressively you
surprise.
said
But
that.
surprise me.
I'm gonna name this one. I'm just gonna roll it. Roll a dice for 3.
Roll
1,
to
2, 3.
decide your music album.
Yep. 3. So the hip hop album.
Alrighty.
The rap album. The rap album. I don't know if you guys have talked about. I don't think you guys have talked about him yet. Have you guys talked about Juice WRLD yet?
No, but I'm aware of
No,
him.
Cool.
But I love Juice
Cool.
WRLD.
I'm doing the newest album, Legends Never Die.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay.
I can get behind that.
Is that his posthumous album?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
Okay, sick. That's
It
a
is
good album.
It's very fucking good, and if you know of Juice WRLD's like the struggle that he went through like before he passed away, makes this album kind of sad and hard to listen to if you were like a big Juice fan.
Like, I was sad as hell when he died, but that man earned my permanent respect the way he went out.
I wish more than anything I could have seen him once live. Just once. I wish more than anything I could have.
Do y'all know how, like, why he died?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either his whole crew gets arrested or he eats like a massive amount of Xanax. So he was like, yeah, no, that's not happening.
Yeah, he had sort of a tragic, troubled past /
But I mean,
But either way, I fucking love his album and I love this shit. So we'll talk about next week.
a fucking legend. Truly.
Alrighty. Well, a couple of announcements that I want to do before we close out here. So I believe it's on Tuesday. I will be making a guest appearance on Bud's podcast, so look forward to that. Also, Horse the Band is releasing an EP, and I am very erect.
The music oracle returns.
So
Strikes again.
I can't fucking wait for this thing. It's how long has it been since Horse the Band has released anything? Let me see. So their last album was Desperate Living, and that came out in 2009. God damn! So it's been over 10 years.
Does that beat?
This might be sacrilege, but I've never heard of Horse the Band.
I've been like debating talking about them for a while. Like,
putting it on the podcast soon.
I wanted to talk about Lorne next week, but I might have to talk about Horse the Band instead. Fuck.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. Horse the Band already has an album coming out, so...
Alrighty. Fuck it. I'll do Lorne another time. We're going to talk about Horse the Band. I'm going to do a natural death, I think.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's going to be next week. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. One other announcement: we're trying to put both Cringe Crew podcasts on Spotify and possibly Apple Music. So, as soon as I can get all the episodes uploaded, which is gonna take a fucking while, those will end up on those platforms. So, look forward to it. I've already got season 1, episode 1 of the music podcast up. But, so, the way that it works is you have to upload it to an RSS host, which then will distribute your podcast to Spotify, whatever. But the process is, you have to get the audio from the video, and then I have to edit that, and then I have like a little intro that's going to be exclusive for the audio-only platforms that I have to add, and then it's going to take a while, basically. But when it's done, I'll let you know, and yeah, it'll be very cool. But yeah, that's going to do it for this week. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed.